Hi, this is John with Fix It Planet. Today I want to take a look at this control board of some sort. It goes in a 95 Jeep Cherokee, and I don't remember what the board's function is, but it has a little LED display on it that is also not working. But that's not the issue. The LED display not working didn't prevent this module from doing whatever it's supposed to do. So the customer just wants to get that back to doing what it was doing before this capacitor that was sitting in here decided to blow up. So I'll put in the description, I'll ask the customer again later, I want to hand this back to him, what this board does, and I'll put that in the description box so we can identify what we're actually working on, because I don't remember. And all we're actually going to be doing, because I won't be able to put it inside the vehicle to test it, we're just going to rebuild this little area here, and we're not trying to make it beautiful or perfect or remove any signs of damage. All we want to do is reestablish connections. So from here to here, and this one here, it just mounts down underneath here, and that goes to ground. So this from here to here, and this one from here to the hole. So basically I've just taken some small bits of copper and sort of made some connections that we can just reestablish, and then we're just gonna secure them to the board so they don't move around, and then we're going to resolder the capacitor into place, and then we'll attempt to cover it up a little bit so that the areas that are exposed it's reduced, so it doesn't have a whole lot of exposure. Now I'm out of green masking, or I think I actually have some green masking, but I don't have any light. So we're not going to go with any green masking for this particular situation. I think I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid tape, and that way we can just kind of it'll waterproof it, so to speak. So we'll get some of this cleared up. This whole area here, I've already cleaned it, scrubbed it out a little bit anyway. It's not like a beautiful, perfect job, but we've cleaned some of this away so that we can get a better idea of what's going on and what is going to be usable and what isn't. So on the other side, you can see that this actually went through to the other side. Did some damage here. Now this area right here doesn't go anywhere, and it just helps to anchor that leg of the capacitor. But this side here is actually attached to ground, so these directions on either side just go to ground. And we'll do a little bit on the other side there to give it something to solder to. You can see a burn here on this display. So this LED display has a burn right there, so I assume that whatever happened to that knocked out the display. So strangely enough, this thing's been taking a beating, because those are two separate incidents. According to the owner, the LED display went out first, and that's been out for a while now. This capacitor has now been destroyed. Okay, so get started here in just a second, and we'll probably have some fume extraction going, so that'll be a little noisy. And let's see, I want to I just want to put a little bit of solder on those exposed pieces. Oops. So I don't know what caused this to happen, but I have to admit there's a very strong odor on this board, and it's actually disturbing. So I'm starting to wonder if there hasn't been some sort of animal getting up in there and urinating on this, because it's really gross. I just want this surface to try and clean up a little bit. That's why I'm just adding a little flux to it and sort of going over it a few times just to clean up that surface a little bit. So this other one, we're going to slide in there, will stick. This other one, we want to put in there on the other side, but we're going to check this through our hole you'll see that we have just underneath, right there, we want that to have a small hole in it so we can get the new capacitor in there. So let me get my razor knife, which isn't over here, so I can just puncture a small hole. Be right back. All right. We need that hole approximately right there. Should be good. Now, the other side is going to get a slightly different what we're going to do, I think I'm going to slide that down in there. So it will come out the other side. Then we're going to bring it around like that. And we'll attach it there. It's a little bit long. Just going to trim it down. Okay, we'll save that little piece might need. Okay, perfect. We're going to leave that like that. Give it some solder. Alright, flip it over, and we're going to pull this through just a little bit. Just make sure we establish a good connection there. Okay. Cut off excess. Now, let's see if I can push through. Okay. That should do the trick. Look back over here. All right. Okay, now, see if you guys can still see that. Let's see. Oh. Now, what we're going to do is check that our connections are okay. We're listening for the beep. So we're going to check here. We can check up here on this guy. Right there and here. Alright, so we've reestablished our connections here. And we can clearly see that just the little bit of this has been extended down into the hole. So we just need a capacitor. This is what we're going to do. All right. So we're going to shove the long leg right in this hole here. The short leg in the hole above it, right there like that. Now we have our capacitor where it belongs. Let's try and clean up some of that before we go any further, because I want to lower it. I want to run it down all the way to the board. So let me see if I can't clean that up just a little bit. Okay, let's see how much of this side. Okay, so it looks like we missed our hole on this side, so we didn't quite get that in there. Let's see. This leg here, I wanted that to go through the hole, but it missed. So we're just going to make sure that it is touching and soldered directly on. When we get to that part of it, we'll solder this. We will reconnect that. This here won't be touching anything because this never touched anything to begin with. It was just helping to anchor it a little bit, and that's all gone. We're not trying to rebuild the whole thing. Okay. So what we're going to do, I think, is take a little bit of liquid. Let's see, how about a little bit of epoxy maybe. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and secure this down. I'm going to bend it over this direction here and try to get that as close while still being able to reach it. So it's a little crowded in there, but not too bad. There's actually quite a bit of room, but it's probably less than it might look once you start trying to put your soldering iron in there. You see there's just a limited amount of space to maneuver. So if I put this capacitor straight down onto the board, I won't actually be able to get up under it. And then because we have to make sure that it's connecting and touching all the areas that we want it to touch, I'm trying to make sure you guys can still see. Just a little bit blurry. Okay, so now we're going to just do the legs right here. Oops. All right. Beautiful. I think I'll put a little bit down at the end here as well, just to help give us a little bit of extra durability. If I can get my okay, flip it over to the other side. Now, let's see, this one, I want this one bent. Now let's see. This other one, we don't need it touching anything. So let's clean that. Okay, now let's see if we can't focus that a little better. Now what we have done is reestablish the connection. We've replaced this capacitor and reestablished this burned connection here and here. We'll clean that up a little bit and then we'll do some checking just to verify. Show a couple more things here. And this does not have to be pretty, and we're not trying to rebuild this, but I'll show you in a second here. We're going to cover that up with just a liquid tape that will help insulate it. Okay, give me a second. All right, so we're looking at this leg here all the way over to this, and then over here this other side actually connects to ground. So for example, I will show you ground is right there down at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to touch this side. Look at that, we have continuity there. That side is ground. There's a couple of other places, other locations that will be connected, so we'll check that as well. So we are touching, cannot see it, sorry. You're touching that same leg. I know it's a little dark over there. And then we're going to touch a couple of places where this is also ground. So then we have ground up here. Can't see any of that either. See, we have ground there, ground there. Okay, I know it's not easy to see because my lighting is all bad, and there's not enough viewable area in there under the microscope on the screen. So sorry, that's not better. But I wanted to just go over some minor stuff. I mean, if I get an opportunity to shoot a video of something using the new setup, I just thought I better go ahead and do something. Hope to continue to upload stuff, so we will continue to do something. I don't know what yet. I've got some zebra boards I mentioned in the last video. Those zebra boards are for printers. These are going to be for all of the Amazon distribution centers in my area. There's quite a few of them, and they send me regularly these boards, and then we'll replace the USB ports and a couple of filters, maybe some other stuff. So anyway, all right, so basically at this point this is just fine, and we're going to leave it just the way that it is, not try to move it around or anything. I do want to clean that up a little bit better, some of that stuff, so that we can coat it. Okay, so, oh, and also on this side here, I want to snip off the excess. Leggies, don't need all of that or that. Okay, we can just ignore those. Now, okay, so let's see. This, essentially, all we're using right now is liquid tape. Now, this camera, I'm not so sure how good the focus is. I have not gotten used to this yet, so forgive me. I know this is a little off. Anyway, This stuff is cheap. You can buy it at any Home Depot or Lowe's. And like I say, I don't have any green masking. Well, I have some green masking. I do not have a light to cure it with. So if you really were interested in getting it to be like super pretty or something, or look all professional, you could just use that. But this is actually a 1995 Jeep Cherokee. This thing is going to go in a vehicle. It's going to get exposed to all kinds of extreme, temperatures and all kinds of other things. Who knows what all. So what we're going to do, though, is effectively use some of this to just coat that. Okay, so that'll be safe and sound going forward after that dries. And it doesn't just come off. In other words, it's not like tape comes off, So let's finish cleaning that up a little bit. And green masking or something would certainly be neater and probably necessary under certain circumstances. You might want it to look a lot better. In this case, all I'm really worried about is sealing it. I'm not so worried about the aesthetics. Customer is not concerned about the looks, just wants it to function again. Okay, get this out of here. What that is even doing there. Apparently I've bent my tweezers. So I do get the auto mechanics and stuff come around and give me stuff to help whatever it is they're doing. Let's bring this up. All right. Now, I want something else to use. Let's see if I can use this. Sorry, guys. I noticed that's blurred. If I can get that in focus, you can see a little blob right there to cover that outside area there. Now I'm just, excuse my thumb, got to bend this back again so I can get to the other side. Okay. little bit of that on there. Let's see if I can just cover a little bit more of that one spot. Okay. That should do. There we go. Now you guys can see we just covered that little blob there. We're going to let that dry and we'll be back. Alright, so basically that's it. All there is to it. It's not all that pretty, is it? But it will do what it needs to do. So, hopefully you found this one interesting, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.
I have dome lights.
Look at that.
Uh-oh. What happened?
There it goes.
Yeah,
So
I may have a loose connection.
A loose wire somewhere.
Yes, sir. Other than that, all four
Rock
of them are on.
Man, that's fantastic.
That is awesome.